Yeah, wow. So I was 12 years old when I made this film. Actually, I was 13 when I made this one. This is Sun King. And it's pretty interesting to see the quality that went into these little films. I was really kind of nuts at the time, and I remember taking a lot of care and doing a lot of detail, but it's quite surprising how much of it carries through. I'm looking at it with this microscope, and you can really get a good shot at the detail. Wow, there's the end. It says Finn, F-I-N. I remember I made a title card like that. That's crazy. So, yeah, well, this worked out pretty good. That was one of the, from 1972, we have Sun King, which was a really nice little short film I made. Now I think we're going to look at Rocky Raccoon, which is, that was kind of a bigger production. Yeah, actually, right this second, they're all at the Digify, except for Rocky Raccoon, which is here, and we're bringing them in later today to get them transferred. Is that again? What do you call it? This is an American optical stereopticon, or a stereo microscope. And it's really valuable for my 3D work. I use it for looking at the lenses when I'm trying to inspect them and make them. And it just happens that I figured, well, since I got this unit here, I might as well just look at the films, and it's just amazing. Because since it's 3D, you can focus right through the gel layers. You can see like the acetate, you can look at the scratches, and it's really a nice, it's kind of overkill, but it's good. Yeah, I can look at each frame and see, mostly I've been inspecting the splices to make sure the splices aren't going to break when we bring it to Digify, where these, Jesse's going to turn it into a digital movie. What they pretty much do is they take the broken splices out and re-splice it, and then they just get it so it goes through there. Their projector is pretty forgiving, and I was pretty impressed with their setup there. You know, they definitely get it done. And it doesn't look like the film is being harmed in any way. It looks like it's really getting a nice ride. So under here is a lunchbox from when my sister and I used to go to grade school. This was my sister's, and I put all my films in here. These are all the 16 millimeter films that I made that were short, that would fit on this. That's a film of my nephew, and this is outtakes from a film called Walking Man, and here's some animation, and there's chicken. Most of these films are short films that were made in college, just kind of like a college work. And Walking Man is a really nice one, which I like a lot, because it was the first time I used photo animation, and I photographed myself in the park with, actually I had someone take the pictures, but I set the camera up, and then I cut them out the X-Acto knife, and went back home and photographed a kind of a Canon shot with a still camera over a little bridge that I used to ride my bike by when I was a kid. And I knew that would really be a great little moment, you know, because it was just like a perfect little area. There was a barn, there were a couple trees. So I convinced my friend from high school to drive the car, and I just put the camera on the side and clicked the frame and drove a little bit, and clicked the frame, drove a little bit, clicked the frame. And then later on, I worked on that same technique for a project where I went kind of all around the country with a Leica camera and did some sequences like that. And I never actually pursued that much, but now with the lenticular photography I'm doing, I'm realizing I can take those negatives out, which I just found recently when I'm going through my archive out there, and turn them into the digital, take the negatives and turn them into digital files, and then combine them and make a 3D photo out of something I photographed, probably in 77, something like that. So I'm really excited about it. It's been quite an experience to look through all. These are spliced. These are actually, they were shot originally with Kodachrome film, and then it was edited, and then that was it. That was, you were projecting the original. On the Super 8 film, the 3 Fur Knuckles, I shot all these pieces of film, and then had a print made, and then chopped the print up. At the time, I guess I was thinking that it would be better than, going and scratching up the original. So I still have the original shots, which I just discovered here. But I thought it would be better to go with the print because, as Esther was saying, the print is really high quality, and it's already edited, and it'll go fine with the music, and there's no real way to match it back, It seems if we wanted to, we could transfer from the original and then make an all-new movie, but I think, as I recall, that print was very, very high quality. So I'm really pleased with the way things are going on this part. Yeah, this is great, being able to spin the film down. I can spool it down by just turning with my hand and look at every few frames, like every 15 or 20 frames. So every second or so, we're able to look at what was animated. And it's pretty good. The quality is kind of a mind blower. And this unit really lets you see it really great. And it's just amazing the amount of care and time I took with these films at the time. And it's kind of hard to believe that I did it with myself and my one friend Gene and Rick Bowman, just a couple guys from high school. They would take a long time to make. I would work on them with kind of all my spare time. The second the leaves started to fall off the trees and fall, and I would sometimes, it would still be late spring before I get them finished.
Let's not forget that. Yourself.
He was the inventor in the 50s, and then I worked with him closely for a year or so in the late 1980s, and I'm recently carrying his work a lot further, and these are photographs that are made up of thousands of tiny photos that are taken with a camera that takes a photo all at once, made up of all the photos, and then we put it on a plastic screen, and the plastic screen reintegrates it into a three-dimensional image. So you can actually have a photograph of a hot dog like this, and if you tip it, or if you turn it like this, it still looks 3D. The fly's eye photography is great for this because the lenticular, when you turn to lenticular photography like this, it doesn't work with 3D anymore. So this is a really super advanced system, and I'm really happy to be able to work with it. And I've been working on this for maybe 4 or 5 years, And I finally got it to a point where it started to really bang. I really like kind of working with projects and fixing them up and using them again. And every time we get a better incarnation of our technical process, it's always good to photograph things that we've made in the past. So I'm fixing up this set, which is one of my favorites. What's coming up there? The dinosaur set, which is a 3D set. We'll be doing a particular picture of it that shows a dinosaur in 3D, and when you walk by it, it switches to the bones.
Bless you.
But just a little repair. I'm loving it's nice to be able to have things that you store away and then you take them out and rework them. What kind of glue is that? This is Magnatech, which is really, really intense glue. It has great holding power, and it's pretty easy to apply. And it dries clear? It dries clear, yeah. And that's the camera you're going to use to take the animation? Yeah, we're going to be shooting a sequence of 26 frames with this camera, where the camera is going to come around the artwork, the set, and we'll be taking each separate photograph is a different perspective. And then it's combined and comes out to being a three-dimensional photograph that has the dinosaur, and the dinosaur switches to the skeleton in 3D, so it's an animated 3D photograph.
So how long did it take to build this set then?
Well, we did the set originally many years ago. My friend Tom and I made the set together, Tom Marchand. And then when we got the technique more resolved, we made another incarnation of the set, which is this one, where we added a lot more detail to it, and we added this set up. We covered the whole thing with glue and put on sand, and we made these different stalk-like things, and the Precambrian pineapples, and we gave everything a whole new paint job. The dinosaur got a new paint job too. It used to be gray, now it's brown, and the skeleton that goes in here got a little bit of a mix-up too. And what we're doing now is we're just bringing it back for one more time around with this, because this is such an excellent set.
Captain of your own ship, away you go. It's up to the winds and seas, and how strong you are in your soul. Captain of your own ship, in what you see.
Marner Arts Center with my good friend Bobby, who's been working with the Fly's Eye. He's made a negative lens camera that is unique because it kind of reverts to the way we had done this a few years ago. And it breaks the image up by use of the lens, fragments it in such a way that you don't have to flip each picture, which makes it easier, so that we can go directly from taking a picture to a still shot and then put it behind our lens screen and see the picture immediately, which is, we're trying to take this in a direction where we can have a live situation where someone will be moving in front of the camera lens. And next thing we're going to try to do is puzzle 4 of these together and see if we can get that to work, because we'd like to have a bigger area to show the different perspectives. So this was taken just a few days ago, and the reason that we like it is it was taken all in one shot.
This is using off-the-shelf camera, the highest dot range resolution available at the moment. It's hard to work with. You can't really get images onto it except a better way of doing it. This particular model of June Leaf and Robert Frank, I'm using Henry's models that your group has.
Yeah, that Mark and I made.
That's an awful lot of work in the masterful, I must say.
Yeah, and Christine worked on the hair. Mark Reinerton took the photo, the series of photos. He took a phenomenal sequence, and the June is just outrageous. And then Christina did some work in the post, and now that's okay. Well, it was kind of better than Holden.
Open really late, Mark. I'll have your glasses on.
I'm sure you can.
No, Mark, get that. I'm out of here.
Mark, that was beautiful. Thank you. It's so beautiful to see everybody here tonight. I know that we are all here because Henry was loved and loved each and every person in this room in the unique way that he saw the world. Rachel asked me to read an excerpt from a Joan Didion book, but before I do, I just want to share my first experience of meeting Henry. Tom Jarmusch had invited me to see his retrospective of his films at Anthology, and I was blown away. And Henry and I instantly became friends. And I remember going to PA to the studio, and he was telling me a story about Harry Smith. And he was telling me how wonderful Harry was, and how Henry knew that when Harry was talking to him that he had made it in New York. And I remember as Henry was telling me this, I was thinking the same thing about Henry. Henry was a genius. He was an innovator. He was a beautiful father and partner to Rachel, father to Atticus, and a friend to all. Again, I just want to say, looking at this room is so amazing to see all you guys here. I'm very nervous.
Don't be nervous.
We loved him so much. Okay, so I'm going to read this excerpt from Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking for Rachel.
Absolutely.
And then she talks about grief and the idea of grief. Grief turns out to be a place none of us know until we reach it. We anticipate that someone close to us could die, but we do not look beyond the few days or weeks that immediately follow such an imagined death. We misconstrue the nature of even those few days or weeks. We might expect, if the death is sudden, to feel shock. We do not expect the shock to be dislocating to both the body and mind. We might expect that we will be inconsolable, crazy with loss. We do not expect to literally be crazy, cool customers who believe that their husband is about to return and needs his shoes. In the version of grief we imagine, the model will be healing. A certain forward movement will prevail. The worst days will be the earliest days. We imagine that the moment to most severely test us will be the funeral, or in this case, the memorial, after which this hypothetical healing will take place. When we anticipate the funeral, we wonder about failing to get through it, to rise to the occasion, to exhibit the strength that invariably gets mentioned as a correct response to death. We anticipate needing to still ourselves for the moment. Will I be able to greet people? Will I be able to leave the scene? Will I be able to even get dressed on that day? We have no way of knowing that this will not be the issue. We have no way of knowing that the funeral or memorial itself will be a kind of narcotic regression in which we are wrapped in the care of others and the gravity and meaning of the occasion. Nor can we know ahead of the fact. And here lies the heart of the difference between grief as we imagine it and grief as it is. The unending absence that follows, the void, the very opposite of the meaning, the restless succession of moments during which we will confront the experience of meaninglessness itself. We love you, Rachel. We love you, Atticus. We love you all for being here. I am now going to open up the floor because I'm sure there are a lot of you out there that have a story or two to tell.
Can I read something?
Of course.
Arson's first.
But we've got one person in front of you. And then we all want to hear all the stories because Henry meant so much to us and we're here to celebrate his life. Keep it 3 minutes is what Rachel said.
That was beautiful, Rachel.